They said dying in your sleep was peaceful. They didn't say anything about waking up in someone else's body, with a biology textbook screaming that I was now an omega and a male one at that. It was supposed to be just another night in New York City. One moment I was 24, exhausted from a double shift at the hospital, dozing off to reruns of Friends, and the next, I jolted awake in a stranger's bed, inside a much younger, smaller body. The world outside the cracked window looked familiar, same towering buildings, same gray skies, but the air carried a different kind of tension. One that curled around your ribs and whispered, "You don't belong here." And I didn't. Here, in this twisted version of America, society was split into 3 rigid classes: alphas, betas, and omegas. Gender didn't matter anymore, only your status. Alphas ruled. Betas survived. And omegas? Omegas were owned, registered, controlled. So yeah, reincarnating as an omega was kind of a downgrade. I was now Elijah, 16 years old, barely legal, orphaned, and on heat suppression medication, according to the records. My memories of this body's past were fragmented, but I remembered enough to know I was about to be shipped off to some alpha's household under the state's placement program. Like a pet. Then came him, Asher Hayes. He walked into my life like he didn't belong to it, 6 foot something of quiet fury and soft glances. An 18-year-old alpha with too many scars and too few words. He'd been labeled unstable by the system, which probably meant he still had a soul. His assignment? To foster me until I reached the legal bonding age. Yeah. Foster. Try tame. But Asher didn't touch me. Not the way everyone expected him to. He gave me the bed and slept on the floor. He handed me his hoodie when my hands shook. He drove me to school, walked me home, stood in front of me when anyone so much as looked at me wrong. "You don't have to be afraid of me," he said once, eyes locked on mine. "They call us alphas like it's supposed to mean control. I think it should mean protection." God help me, I believed him. And maybe that's where it all started, the wanting, the confusion, the longing. Because as much as I hated this world, I started to crave him. His presence, his steadiness, the way his voice dropped a little when he called me Eli, the way he looked at me like I was something worth protecting. But safety didn't last long here. It never does for people like me. One Friday evening, a van followed us home. I didn't notice until Asher pushed me inside and slammed the door shut behind us. He stood outside, jaw clenched, fists tight, until the van finally drove off. I asked what happened. He wouldn't say. I didn't sleep that night. Neither did he. By Monday, he was waiting outside my school like always. Except this time he had a busted lip. "You fought them," I whispered. I warned them. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. But instead, I reached out and touched his cheek for the first time. It was warm. So was his hand when it wrapped around mine. And just like that, I stopped trying to escape this world and started trying to survive it. With him, we weren't allowed to be together. Not legally. Not emotionally. Alphas and omegas weren't supposed to bond until after state clearance. Anything before that was called coercion, even if it was love. But how do you outlaw something that grows in silence? In stolen glances and unspoken words? When Asher's mother found out, she called the placement board. Said I was manipulating her son. That I was dangerous. I was taken that night. Pulled from our apartment by cold hands and metal handcuffs. They put me in a state omega facility, gray walls, gray meals, gray faces. It smelled like bleach and fear. Every week, they tried to correct me. Every week I thought about Asher. Then came the escape. Not mine. His. Asher broke in. With nothing but a stolen keycard and a baseball bat, he found me. Bleeding from a head wound, eyes blazing. We didn't have a plan. Just adrenaline. And love. And maybe that was enough. We ran. Miles outside the city. Into a crumbling farmhouse that smelled like dirt and lavender. For weeks we hid. For weeks we healed. And one night, under a sky full of stars and a flickering lantern, I kissed him. He froze. Pulled away. But he didn't let me. He held my face, trembling, forehead against mine. "You're the only thing in this broken world that makes sense," he whispered. "I'd burn it down for you." And maybe, just maybe, I'd let him. Because in his arms, I wasn't an omega. I was his. The government found us eventually, they always do. But by then, the world had started changing. Protests, reform bills, whispers of equality. Maybe we were a spark. Maybe not. But they let us stay together. No more hiding. And when I turned 18, in a small courtroom with peeling paint and a trembling judge, Asher looked at me like I was the sun, and I told the world, I choose him. He didn't claim me. I chose him. And that made all the difference. Even now, years later, as we sit on our porch with coffee mugs and morning light, I still wake up stunned that I get to love him out loud. Not because we fit some status, but because we fought for it. And we won. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.